Watch Me Now.
From the rise and fall of Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars, Star, and joining us now, the man who you can hear drumming on that brilliantly, that will be Woody Woodmansey. Hello, Woody.
Hi, Mark.
How are you
Good to be
doing?
here. I'm doing good, yeah.
Yeah, we're still allowed to say Happy New Year. That's a question that people ask immediately, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I say it's an Easter. Do you know what I mean?
Do you? Well, happy Easter, Woody.
Yeah, happy Easter to you.
Let's
mate.
cover all bases there. So, I tell you what, so thanks for helping us resurrect Gagging Order. We've not done this for a while, and we're looking forward to your joke later on. And
Yeah, good. Pleasure.
we've got a few things to discuss, really. But first, you have got the Holy Gang back together again, which is it's great news. Great news. I was so thrilled to hear that. And we'll get to all of that and the tour dates and everything in a short while. But if you don't mind, can I just ask you about some of the early days with Ziggy and the Spiders?
Yeah, totally.
Because, you know, I know more about you guys than I probably should, but when Bowie was considering bringing, like, theatrics to the band, costumes and the like and all that, he took the Spiders famously to see 2 shows to give you an idea of what he was thinking, like with theatrics and stuff, and one of which I believe was Alice Cooper at the Rainbow Theatre. So what did you make of Alice at the time, and what did Bowie take from it and you take from it?
Well, just the 4 of us went, and we'd never seen Alice live, heard the records, and I actually had never seen him on TV either.
Right.
And it was a great show. I think they finished the show by dropping so many $1,000 from the balcony, and then the audience went mental.
Wow. Yeah, $1 billion
But it was a good
babies.
show. But David actually walked out.
Did he?
And I said, "Don't you like it?" And he just looked at me and walked out. so we went, "Oh no, I'm enjoying this. Let's stay." So we all stayed.
Right. Okay. So you knew
He
Bowie.
never mentioned why he walked out. I don't know.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, do you think that was because he thought he was too good or it wasn't good enough?
No idea. He never mentioned it.
Right, okay.
And we didn't ask because we had a good time.
It was a sortie, wasn't it? It's just to see what he was doing. And because I know that you've mentioned before that Alice Cooper at that point in time was wearing jumpsuits and the like, which of course the Spiders and Ziggy ended up kind of clobbering.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, I mean there were similar colours, but ours were really well made. I do remember. Ooh, that was a bit under the belt, yeah. No, but they were. I mean, we had an Italian top-line designer, basically. So we got measured up properly. I don't think Alice's guys got measured.
No, I can't imagine that for a minute.
I'm bitching here. I'll shut up.
No, well, I tell you what, funnily enough, we had Alice Cooper on Gagging Order a couple of years ago, and another time I will tell you his joke, because that was a good one as well. But if you mentioned that you'd never seen him on TV, but Alice Cooper, a bit like the legendary Starman performance on Top of the Pops, which we will discuss in a short while, that was another one where people went to the school playground the next morning. Did you see that last night? You know, it was another one of those, and Sparks as well. They were kind of 3 really pivotal appearances on Top of the Pops that really set the whole playgrounds alight at the time. That's one thing. I believe was the other show that he took you to see, was it an opera or a ballet? Which of the 2 was it? Do you remember?
He took us to see the Nutcracker Suite,
wow,
a ballet, and we thought it was a night out on the record company. We thought it was, I don't know what we thought it was, but. And then we noticed in the foyer, we didn't even know it was a ballet when we got there. And we went, oh, there's no popcorn, there's no, stuff. So we'd seen this little shop, so we popped next door and loaded up with everything, And we walked into the place, and when you're carrying massive bags of crisps and popcorn and all that, it's crackling, and people were turning around going, shh, 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 like, sorry.
It's a great mental image.
We never got to eat any of it,
I never can imagine. I mean, it's a great mental image because, of course, if you think you're going to something that resembles a gig in a theatre, and instead of seeing a load of hairy-ass builders in denims, you saw a load of people in the finery, you must have sussed something out at that point in time.
Well, it started kind of taking us on this, I guess, a cultural journey,
right,
from his viewpoint of where he was at. We'd kind of watched the mime things, Lindsay Kemp on video, which, when I saw that the first day I met him when I came down to London,
right,
and he played me that, and I was like, what the heck have I got? What is this? Why am I watching this? And then he went, "Oh, well, that's me." I went, "Oh, wow, okay." But do you know what I mean? It didn't click. It was just like, okay, that's weird.
Because you'd been in rock and roll bands in Hull, and you'd left for London to join a rock and roll band, and then you end up watching Mime on the TV.
Yeah. I mean, we were purely like music was the thing, rock and roll. I mean, we did do our version of stage clothes. I think Mick, my wife made him some Apache leather boots with tassels on them, and he wore whatever that thing is they wear down the front, with jeans and a leather waistcoat. So he did a little bit of dressing up occasionally.
Right, but that was obviously very kind of the stereotypical male of the time, wasn't it? You know, macho.
Totally that. Yeah. I mean, I wore my T-shirt for probably 4 or 5 nights. Do you know what I mean? The same T-shirt.
Right.
That was rock and roll. So it was just the music, and that's what you were into, and that's what you did, you know.
Yeah, I think
the first time was we'd been rehearsing, and he said, "Oh, we're going into London tonight." I said, "Oh, where are we going?" He said, "We're going to see this play," and I was like, "Oh," because we hadn't been out for ages, and I said, "What's it called?" He went, "I don't know what it's called." And I was like, "What? We're going out to London, see a play, and you don't even know what it's called?" And he said, "I don't care about the play." I said, "Oh," he said, "No, the lighting director's the best one in London at the moment. So, like, just watch the lights and what happens on stage and what effect it has on the audience. Because when we put a show together, I'd be saying, what colours do you think for this one? What do you think this should we fade out on this one, or should, you know, things like that?" And I was like, "Oh, okay," you know. So it was quite a change of viewpoint, really.
Yeah. He wasn't messing about, Bowie, was he?
Sorry?
He wasn't messing about, was he? He knew what he wanted.
No, I mean, you know, watching the, I don't know what, it might have been Clockwork Orange or something like that we were watching in the lounge. And he was drawing at the same time, and he just passed me this piece of paper over. He said, "Woody." And I looked at it, and it was like 4 figures dressed in like space outfits, boots. And I was like, you know, the dots were not joined at that point.
Right.
And I was like, is he just letting me know he can draw or what? You know, I passed it back to him. It's like, yeah, cool. You know. And then a couple of days later, we're in Liberty's buying material, and he's climbing a ladder and passing rows of material down. Grab the end of this, Woody, you know. And I'm thinking, great, we're getting curtains. We're finally getting curtains at Haddon Hall. Because we didn't have a lot of money, and it was sparsely furnished, you know what I mean? And neighbours could look in if they feel like it, you know. But then another day, and then this designer turned up and started measuring us. And I saw the material on the floor, and I'm thinking, okay, yeah, these are what we're going to be wearing. And then Angie came back in and said, "You got a problem, boys." I said, "What?" He said, "Mick's packed his suitcase and he's heading towards Beckenham Station." He said, "I'm not wearing that on stage. I've got friends."
This is a man who appeared as a cowboy in Hull, but never mind that.
Yeah, well, you know, Bowie said, "You got to go and handle him, Woody. You got to talk. Well, I don't care what you do. You got to get him back, you know."
Right.
So
yeah.
I went to the station. He was sat there, and we kind of got chatting. And he went, "I can't do that, Woods. I can't wear that." I said, "Mick," I said, "before I joined the Rats in Hull," I said, "I saw photographs of you with a girl's blouse on, you know." And he went, "No, it wasn't. It was a bloke's blouse."
It's a good answer.
No, yeah, it was. I said, "No, they didn't make shirts like that for men back then, you know what I mean? They don't make them like that." And he went, "All right, it was a girl's, but it was just a promo shot, you know." I said, "Well, yeah, that's what this is."
Yeah,
you know?
It's an image.
It's not. It's part of the show. It's going to be a show.
You know.
So anyway,
I mean, I'm aware of the really early first kind of Spiders gigs that you did, and they were in pubs, weren't they? And you were trying out not only the songs, obviously, for Ziggy, but also the costumes. So how did the locals take to it?
Well, I think we did places like the Toby Jug. I don't even remember where it is. It's on the outskirts of London somewhere.
Right.
And this pub tour. And we did the full-on show as though it was a stadium, basically. And the moves on stage, even when it was a little stage, they still did all the moves, which must have looked a bit strange in a pub.
Right. Yeah.
But and the girls they got it before the guys. The guys just gave us like glaring looks, and then we had to get bodyguards in because like we nearly got beat up on a few gigs. Because the girlfriends like wanted to chat and whatever, and the guys didn't.
Yeah. Well, I think I might have told you before, but I got a slap for liking Bowie from somebody who was a Slade fan, so they were the kind of days that we were living in.
Yeah.
I mean, groundbreaking and trailblazing and all those things. So I sent you a couple of photographs yesterday. One was a great picture of you and Trevor in a hotel room, you were telling me, in America. But the other one was a photograph of the young guy who was dancing behind yourself and the other four with keyboards, and the guy in the tank top who was dancing. And then I went to see Turning Faces Strange, the theatre production of The Life of Mick Ronson, featuring John Cambridge. Hello, John. And the guy who was there dancing behind you all, they'd found him and they'd recreated that yellow and red and black tank top, and he was dancing on stage to Starman. It was one of the most surreal moments of my life.
Fantastic.
So can you tell me just your memories of the night? Because that is it's recognised as one of the most iconic moments in musical history when you did Starman on Top of the Pops. I'd seen you on Lift Off with Aisha a couple of weeks before, but most of the people saw you on Top of the Pops. Was it a massive moment for you, that?
Yeah, it was a real milestone, really, because like once you decided to kind of go professional, if you like, Top of the Pops and Whistle Test were the places you were heading for. It was like, that's the landmark, you got to head for that. And we'd had a few singles out that hadn't made it, and then Starman started to climb, and I think we had a gig somewhere. I'm not sure where it was, and we had to cancel the gig. They said, you got to do Top of the Pops. So it was like a big moment. It was like, whoa, we're actually doing it. Because I think Changes had got a lot of airplay. That was like on every flipping hour, but it never sold at that time.
Right.
So this was like a big deal. And Status Quo were on that night, I think. Because I remember being in the green room, and we'd got the outfits, and we'd kind of had a hairdresser mess about with us. And then was kind of brushing our hair, the three of us looking in a mirror, and Bowie sat in the corner, and he pulls this box out and starts pulling out what I now know is like makeup. Just brushes and powder, like so much of it. And he starts putting like a foundation or whatever on his face. And he goes, you boys not wearing makeup then? And he got 3 answers from 3 Yorkshire blokes.
I can imagine.
I can't say what we said, and he just didn't bat an eyelid. He just kept putting the makeup on, and he said, "Oh, that's a shame." And I said, "What do you mean a shame?" And he went, "Well, you haven't played under these strong studio lights before, and it has a tendency to pull all the features off your face. So you'll just see your outfit and a bit of hair, but there'll be like an egg in the middle. It's a bit pale. You look a bit ill. You'll be pale green. You know what I mean? Yeah. And you've probably got family and friends watching." And then we all were like, "So what do you do with this then?" We started grabbing the makeup, and he went, "Come here," and he kind of showed us. But it was bad anyway.
Yeah, from looking at Top of the Pops, he did an amazing job, as did Susie doing your hair, and and everybody else involved. But okay, so that is some of the history there, which some people out there will know and some won't. But as I mentioned, so Holy Holy then. I mean, I've seen you playing on numerous occasions, and the first time that I saw you playing, you were doing the whole with the whole lineup, which we'll go through in a moment. But of course, Tony Visconti and Glenn Gregory. But you were doing the whole of The Man Who Sold the World, which was an album that you never toured at the time. And it was fantastic.
We never did that with David.
No. And so, can you tell us who the lineup is then on this jaunt with Holy Holy?
Well, it's basically, it's the same lineup apart from, I'll say the same lineup, no, I'm going to get rid of a few, yeah. We've got a new guitarist that I'm not going to say who it is yet.
Right, okay.
And then we changed our keyboard player from probably the time you saw us. We've got this girl called Jeanette Morgan. And she's awesome. She's really good. And then James Stevenson on lead guitar. Obviously Glenn, like you said, and Tony. And Tony's daughter, Jessie Morgan, on vocals and backing vocals and acoustic guitar. So it's good. It's a good lineup.
Fabulous. And I was going to say, are there going to be any surprises in there? But if you tell us, it wouldn't be a surprise, would it?
No, I've put some in that we haven't tackled before.
Right. Okay.
And we never did them with David either. I'll give you a clue. It's from either Hunky Dory or Ziggy or Aladdin Sane.
All
So
right.
there's a few of those in there.
Yeah.
And then a couple of later ones that Tony produced, probably very near the end.
Right.
I remember listening to The Next Day thinking, whoa, I'm not sure if I like this. And then we played a couple of tracks off it, as a band.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh my God, the emotional content of it. I was in tears playing one track.
Right.
Whoa.
Okay,
Anyway.
well, yeah, something. I mean, like I say, when I first heard that you were back together, and just absolutely thrilled by that. And so, do have the tour dates here for Holy Holy. So yourself and Tony Visconti and Glenn Gregory and everybody else that you've mentioned there. So the 15th of May, you play London O2 Shepherd's Bush Empire. The 16th.
Yeah, start under pressure like that's the London gig's usually the last gig, yeah, when you warmed up.
Well, it's only a little village. Don't worry about that, Woody. The 16th of May, Leeds O2 Academy. The 17th, Birmingham O2 Academy is a pattern emerging here. 18th of May, Manchester Ritz. Cannot wait for that. 21st of May, Newcastle City Hall. 29th, Oxford Academy. 30th, Bristol Academy. The 31st of May, Liverpool Academy. And then on the 6th of June, finishing off at Bournemouth at, yes, the Academy. All wonderful stuff. And like I say, I just cannot wait, Woody. And before we get to your joke, of course, I just want to say that you told me that you'd taken up painting, and you very kindly sent me some photographs of your work, and I have to say I love it. So how long have you been painting?
Well, I started as a kid, really. That was what I was good at school. I kind of, not that I had lessons, it was more I naturally seemed to be able to paint. So I painted at home, and my family was not really art or music orientated at all. But I had one auntie who lived 35 miles away, would come through and go, "Ooh, Michael, oh, that's lovely. Can I have it?" And I would go. For me, it was just somebody's liking it, so yeah, have it. And I found out like 15 years later, she was taking them and selling them in the city,
Right.
and she never told me. So then when lockdown happened, I was going nuts because all the music things stopped, and I just went, oh, I'm going to paint. So I just painted right through it, and I just kind of got into it, and I went, wow, I've always been a painter. And I've just continued since then, really. I've probably done 100 and odd paintings, but the last, I don't know, maybe the last year, it's really clicked. I mean, my way of finding style was just paint and then paint and paint some more and paint more and paint more. So I did that. That was, I think that's the way to find what you like doing and what you can do,
Yeah, well, I mean, the lockdown kind of scenario, it did bring out a lot of kind of talents in people that they never knew they had. So, yeah, more power to your brush.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely.
When people used to say, "Do you play brushes?" I used to say, "No, I paint with them."
Very good. So you see, that's not your joke, though, is it?
No, it's not.
No, okay then. So it is gagging order, and we need to ask Woody Woodmansey exactly what he is going to try and entertain us with now.
Well, it's a drummer joke, right?
Yeah.
So this drummer is really fed up. When he's on tour, he gets calls saying, "Will all the musicians get together at 2:00? The tour bus is arriving, and could the drummer turn up as well, please?"
Yeah.
And it's just that, and he's really fed up with it. So he goes down his local music shop and he walks in and he says, "Yeah, can I have some medium gauge strings, please? I've got to restring my Les Paul guitar." And the guy says, "Oh, you're a guitarist then?" He said, "Yeah, lead guitar. I just think I need to put new strings on. I've got a lot of recording to do." And he said, "You look like a drummer, mate." And he goes, "No, guitarist, mate. I'm actually a multi-instrumentalist." He said, "While I'm here," he said, I'll take that red trumpet and that accordion near the wall there." And he went, "You're a drummer, mate." He said, "Why do you keep saying that?" He said, "Put it like this, mate." He said, "Here's your strings." He said, "I'll sell you the fire extinguisher, but the radiator has to stay."
No, you see, hoist by your own petard there, mate. You've just put another drummer joke into the canon.
I know.
Oh, yeah, but we love that. There's been some good ones. I will tell you Alice Cooper's joke one day, Woody. Enjoy the tour. I look forward to seeing you on it, and thanks very much for your time, mate.
Yeah, cheers.
Take care, fella.
Thanks, bye.
You got